Hey, this is Emerson Hart from Tonic, and you are listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast. Listen on.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers, like our Facebook page, or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We would like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Emerson Hart of Tonic.
Of Tonic, yeah. They have a new single out since 2021 called To Be Loved. And they also, what else do they have?
Solo-wise, I think he's got a new EP coming.
Yes, he does. He was a great interview. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it right now.
All right, good night.
Good night. Emerson, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Emerson, this is going to be fun to talk to you tonight.
Yeah, good to meet you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. I know we've been playing tag with you and your press person over the last year to try to get you on, but we finally did it. We're excited to have you, so here we go. As COVID-19 has slowed down the music industry, how have you stayed creative in these uncertain times?
I just stay creative. I mean, regardless of whether I'm in the house or not, it's a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. So I've been doing lots of other things. I mean, I've been, writing a lot of poetry if I'm not writing music. I'm reading a lot if I'm not writing a lot. One hand shakes the other. So I've been doing that. But luckily, I mean, we toured most of the summer. And we were, one of a few bands that were fortunate enough to go out there and actually keep doing it.
Absolutely. Well, as we see COVID restrictions slowly easing, what is the touring plan for Tonic?
We've kind of settled into, if it's not a specific tour, we've settled into a really great I hate this term, but really it's what it is weekend warrior. As we'll go out and do a show on Friday night, and then Saturday night, and then fly home Sunday. You know, I mean, we all have kids.
Sure.
Some have kids that are about to leave for college. Some have kids that are still walking around destroying their houses. That would be me. You know, so that's kind of what it is. And with the exception of the random, like last summer, it was Collective Soul and Better Than Ezra and us. And, you know, that's like a family tour just because we're all old pals. And so we went out and did about 3 weeks of that, which was a blast.
Oh, fantastic.
But other than that, it's weekend warrior stuff.
Very good.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that tour because you came here close to us, about an hour away in Dubuque, Iowa, and I missed that show. I really wanted to go. I was just going to ask you about, you know, you had mentioned you had played with the Collective Soul and Better Than Ezra, and can you just talk a little bit about that, playing with those guys in that tour?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we all, with the exception of Collective Soul who came before us, and Better Than Ezra for that matter, where I think we were the younger of the group as far as coming out on the scene.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was always a fan of Ed's, the lead singer, Ed Rowland of Collective Soul, and oddly enough, I think it was 96 or 97, you know, I was walking down the street in New York City and he came walking out of a hotel and we literally bumped into each other. And he was like, "Wait, are you Emerson Hart from Tonic?" And I was like, "Yeah." "Are you Roland from Collective Soul?" He was like, "Yeah." And we both at the same time were like, "I'm a huge fan." And I was like, "Jinx." "Oh, okay, well, let's go get a drink." So we became fast friends. And so, you know, every couple of years we try to do, you know, as many shows as we can together. And Kevin, you know, from Better Than Ezra, the lead singer, he lives not but 5 or 6 miles from me in Franklin, here in Nashville, Tennessee. And also we're also in another band together called Ezra Ray Hart. So yeah, it was a big family affair.
Oh, so cool. You know, as far as preference goes when it comes to touring, you know, what is your thought processes? You know, as far as a preference goes, do you prefer the flyout dates? Do you like those short bundled week, you know, 2-week, 3-week package deals, or, you know, the traditional method of getting out there on a bus and going for a couple months? Where's your thought process? What's more idealistically for you now?
I think for the function of my life, it's two things. It's the out a week, home a week, out a week, home a week, or out 2 weeks, home 2 weeks. And, you know, we do that with the bus. But because you get your stride after the third show. You know, you get your set down, you know exactly what everybody needs to expect from you and all the rest of that. And then secondly would be weekend warriors, only because I get more time, you know, with my family. And that's, you know, we were on the road that first record for 2.5 years with 20 days at home. And I think if you only get 20 days off in 2.5 years, that kind of messes with your brain a little bit. And, you know, I was happy to do it and grateful to do it. But I think now we just try to tour smarter. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jeff, got the next one?
Yeah, you alluded to Ezra Ray Hart. That was one of the things I had on my list. When I first heard about that, I was so excited because, you know, it's something that was new to me, where you see 3 bands get together and do their, you know, songs from each one of the bands. Plus, I don't know, what other kind of songs did you guys play? Did you do any covers?
Yeah, we threw a couple covers in there. I mean, initially we started out, you know, we were like, I love Mark, and we were doing a corporate gig together. You know, this is before it was very hard. And, you know, he was like, you know, we're kind of doing this thing. And, you know, he also has Royal Machines, and he has, I think, one other thing that is another band. But, and then Kevin and he had done a thing together, and they invited me to come on it. And, man, it's such a blast because we'll do 90 minutes. We have plenty of material between the 3 bands. And then we throw in, you know, fun covers that are fun. We want this whole thing to be fun. It's every show we do. It started out kind of as a corporate thing, and then people started buying it for, you know, whatever it is, you know, fair dates and, you know, some of that stuff. And now people are wanting to come and book, you know, Garden State Art Center or whatever it is, these PACs and performing arts centers. And I'm like, whatever, that's fine. Let's do it. I mean, it's 90 minutes of nostalgia.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the business, that's the business I'm in. I'm in the business of people having a good time.
You are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, back in February, it's almost a year now, Tonic released the first one-off single, To Be Loved, instead of releasing an album. And, we're seeing, the culture of music today in the entertainment industry is releasing one-off singles instead of full-length albums, or sometimes bands are now preferring to go to a 5 or 6 song EP. Obviously, this is the album-oriented rock thing is, full-length album is kind of going by the wayside. But, how do you like releasing just a one-off single opposed to releasing a full-length album, or even releasing a 5 or 6 song EP? How does it work for you guys now?
I mean, I think I prefer the 5-song EP, 5 or 6, only because I think we're at a point in our career where, I can say it in 5 songs. I can. It's not like with a solo record, it might take me 10. But with the band, I think we know what we want, and we love playing music together, but, we're all so busy. And it's not that we don't love our jobs, but it has to be a really specific thing to want to say it. Like that song, especially for me, was super personal, just how important it is, to always love who you want to love and live the life you want to live. And that was really important. So that had a point. But if I had my druthers, a 5 or 6 song EP that has a kind of a theme that runs through it, that's my jam. Like, it's just easier to say it, I think, But like I said, it's not solo stuff. I still make, the solo record, last one I made, that had 12 songs on it. But I think for what Tonic's doing, that made sense.
I guess as far as the atmosphere of, heritage acts like Tonic and other bands of your era, how do you feel as though the industry is coming to you as far as saying we want a full length album again, or we just want EPs, or how is it working for a band such as Tonic as far as demand from the industry goes?
There's no demand from the industry. We make records, as most bands do of my genre. We make an era. We make records for our fans. And, if our fans say, you know what, man, you can't just release a song or 5 songs, that's not enough, then we'll do more. We'll figure out a way. We're in the fan business also. It's just like I said, we're in the, with Ezra Ray Hart, we're in the nostalgia and have a good time business. And I think nostalgia gets a bad rap sometimes. But, the industry, who the hell knows what the industry is doing? I'm serious. It's like every 3 days it changed. Like, I was talking to this manager who's an enormous manager who I will not mention, but he was like, their whole roster now are TikTok people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I understand it. I have a 14-year-old daughter. I watch Reels. I watch TikTok. I get it. I see the comedy of it, but good God Almighty, is that what it is?
I mean,
Jesus.
You lost me, yeah.
Yeah. I know I sing in a men's barbershop chorus, and somebody the other day said that we need to start putting videos on TikTok to advertise. Most of the guys are like, I don't know what that is. Luckily,
you know what, dude? You might get a fucking record deal. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Just get them up.
Yeah.
Get them up there.
Well, as you look toward the future, what is the band Tonic? What are the plans as far as full length material is going to? Are you in the works of recording an EP? Are you in plans of recording?
We have 4 songs. We're being mixed. Yeah, we're ready to go for it. It's in the can and done. I would like to have one more, but that's okay. Yeah, so that's all ready. We'll release another one here pretty soon.
Oh, very good.
And what's your method, or what's your go-to for writing songs? Or does it matter? Can you write a song anywhere, or do you like to go to a certain room, or how's that work for you?
This is an interesting conversation I just had with a buddy of mine who's a ginormous songwriter, and he he always is at his studio every day. He treats it like an office. And I totally get that because he's, also like a producer engineer, and he needs all that stuff. And I had a studio for a while, a couple of years ago, and it was great. And now I'm renting it out right now to a young producer, and he's doing great work in it, and it's awesome. But, man, I'll be honest with you, like the best fucking songs I've ever written in my career, I wrote at the kitchen table. That's just really the reality of it. Yeah. I could say that I was in some kind of like moody, I was in the back of the airplane when I had this idea, but it's like, nope, not really. It's usually when I'm sitting having a cup of coffee, my brain's turning on, and I have my guitar in my hand, and all of a sudden I hear a chorus in my head. Because it always comes with the chorus first, and then I work around that.
Oh, cool.
Oh, very good.
God bless the kitchen table.
Well, I wanted to touch upon your solo work. You've released 3 solo albums since 2007. And how do you compare, your writing of solo material opposed to writing Tonic material? Is it, does it all come to you the same way, or how do you break it down? Like, hey, this would be a great solo effort song, or this track would be perfect for Tonic. Where does it, how does it break off for you?
I think that I don't delineate until the song is nearly done. And then it just becomes fairly obvious if it's something I would want to say with the band or if it's something that I want to say on my own. It's really just about the context, It very rarely have those two crossed over, with the exception of one maybe, which was on that first solo record, there was a song called If You're Gonna Leave, which was a top 15 or top 20 song. Mm-hmm. And I probably could have done that with Tonic. It would have worked. It fit that mold. But the rest of them, I just don't think it does. So you just know. It's like, when you're going fly fishing, you don't bring bait. Like you just, when the song's halfway done, you're like, oh, yeah, no, I can't. This is not even correct. Like, this is not the right tool for what I want to say. And also, it's not fair for me to drag my band, Tonic, through, if it's like really personal stuff that maybe they don't want to have to say. I don't want to drag them through that. That's just not fair as an artist.
Well, when you're sitting at that kitchen table and you're writing music, do you have to get into this is an Emerson Hart mode where I'm writing songs for the solo material, or or the next day do you sit at the kitchen table saying, all right, now this is time for tonic material?
No, I don't even think about it. It's just whatever comes out, I'll know pretty much when the song's halfway done what it's best for, where it should be, if it should be, and I could be wrong. And I always send, Dan, the bass player and song, I always send him songs solo or not, and go, am I missing the mark on this? Should this be a Tonic song? And he'll go, no, this is definitely a solo song. Or, yeah, we might want to look at this, So, like I said, it just comes out. But you eventually know where it should be.
Well, have you just had one of those moments where you've wrote a song and it's for Tonic, and you're like, man, I wish I would have saved that for my solo material? Have you ever had that moment?
No, I haven't, because it's just so obvious to me. Yeah, like I said, it's very rare that there would be a crossover. Just would be you just know. You just know. It'd be like if you were married to a twin, right? And all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I know you kind of look the same, but you're not my wife. So it's just what it is. Oh, they're both beautiful. They're both beautiful.
Yeah, I've got 2 live related questions. So, I've been at a couple concerts where the crowd, the band was trying to do a fan, or what do you call that, a crowd moment where the crowd sings a line from the song, and the crowd just took over the whole song, and the guy just stopped singing, and it was you could just tell it was really emotional for him. Have you ever had a moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this whole last tour was a 25th year anniversary for If You Can Only See. So, I mean, by the time we got to the last chorus, I would pretty much just stop and just play acoustic, and everybody would just sing the song. So that happened pretty much every night.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's really, really wonderful. I had a moment, it's about 10 years ago, we were in Poland. We were playing Reykjavik, which is their Polish Woodstock, pretty much. Mm-hmm. It's like 350,000 people. outdoor festival. Really, really fun. And I remember playing that song and them singing along. You know, you can hear 100,000 of them. You can't see but 150. And me thinking to myself, man, I had this idea sitting on my couch in Los Angeles when I was 22 years old. And now there's some 20-year-old Polish girl in the front row singing my idea that I had back to me. It's just real powerful, man.
Yeah, it is. That is fantastic. Well, you know, when established artists such as yourself decide to supplement their musical ventures with a solo endeavor, opposed to breaking off from Tonic, how did you balance Emerson Hart, the solo artist, opposed to a member of Tonic? How does the balancing act work out for you?
I think at first it was a little bumpy because we had spent so much time together, and I think we all kind of needed an emotional break from each other. So it was a little hard at first, just trying to walk that line. You know, do I want to do this? As shows come in, is this the right show to do? Should I go out and promote my solo record? That kind of stuff. But then it kind of started leveling out. And I figured, well, if it's a lot of fun to do it with the band and that's where my head is, then I'll do that. But if I feel like I need to be personal and play the acoustic solo shows for 350 to 400 people in a club, then that's where I'll do it. So I've now it's a mixed bag because it's Ezra Ray Hart shows, and then it's Tonic shows, and then it's Emerson Hart solo shows. That's kind of, the order of things have changed.
Oh, very good.
And I don't know if that answers your question, but it's a weird science for me.
Oh, well, yeah, I get it. You wrote the theme song Generation for NBC's drama series American Dreams back in 2002. You earned the ASCAP Award for Best Song for a Television Series in 2003. Can you talk a little bit more about writing and recording of that song?
Yeah. The producer was a friend of mine, and he was talking about this concept of a show and just about, just that part of American culture. And, I was a moon kid. I was born in, 1969, the day the man landed on the moon. And so that was always, having older parents, that was always a huge part of my upbringing was that culture. So when he said, can you write me something that feels of that, but slightly modern? He goes, and let's just give it a try. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. So I sat down and I knocked it out real fast. And that was that, and I didn't realize that the show would do well, but it did. So it was great. One season shy of that syndication, though, man. I would have liked that money.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping you were going to give me some really dramatic story about writing that song.
No, man. No, I literally had to put my it's what I call the craft cap. When I just kind of I think about, all the things that went into that era of music and what were some of the great pop moments. And that's what it was. And I just tried to marry it with the most productive chorus that I could.
Oh, well, yeah, fantastic.
I was just going to ask you how you got into singing. Did you sing in high school or college, or did you just something that came natural to you?
Man, I think I came out singing, singing and swinging, and my father was sang with Vic Damone and the old crooners, so I kind of got a lot of that from him, and my mother also is a great singer, although she doesn't really do it, anymore. She's now a YouTube star, but I don't know how the hell that happened, but it did. And so I was always a singer, and then I really wanted to do theater and acting. That really was my first love, even though I always played music and I always wrote songs since I was 10 or 11 years old. I mean, shitty songs about trucks, whatever I was writing about, but I really wanted to be an actor. And then growing up in New York City and the theater and all those things. But I always had my music, and it was always there. And then eventually, at one point, I was like, man, I don't want to be somebody else. Like, I just want to play music. I had graduated high school, and I moved to France. I lived there for a year. And then I moved back right when Joshua Tree, they were touring that record, when U2 was touring that record. And I saw them at Brendan Byrne Arena in New Jersey. And that was that sealed the deal for me. Once I saw that show, I was like, yeah, fuck this. That's all I want to do. And that's the thing, it's like, I knew how to write the songs. I knew how to sing them. So I just said, fuck it. People want to listen, they will. If they don't, then at least I gave it a good solid try, and I'll end up working on lobster boats for the rest of my life. But it didn't turn out that way, so it's all right.
Yeah, it turned out well for you.
Yeah.
So as far as instrument, was the guitar your first instrument you picked up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, no, that's not entirely true. Well, yeah, it is. I guess it was my first instrument I picked up, but the first instrument I learned was trumpet.
No.
Oh, okay.
I know, in second grade. My music teacher was named Mr. Nutt, which is very ironic when I think about it now, but we would have destroyed him at my age. But he was a great, great, great teacher, and he really instilled in me a love of music. And so I started with trumpet, but I always had the guitar. My mom had, or I still have it, it's like a 1963 Yamaha classical, great guitar, just super, action that you could fly a fucking biplane underneath. And I had to really learn how to play acoustic on that. So when I got to playing steel string acoustic, I was like, oh, it's not that hard. Like, I can really press down, So I hope that answers your question. That was kind of a long answer for it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I have one more question. Jeff, do you have another question before I answer the grand finale here?
Go ahead.
So I know this is like way off of what we're talking about here, but, as music and rock and roll has kind of the pop culture of it has all changed, and rock and roll is not the landmark of pop culture anymore. We as kids, we're probably all about the same age here. We always had like that mystery of rock and roll, the mystery of it all. We get, the magazines, Rolling Stone, Hit Parader, those type of magazines. And you didn't have social media. You didn't have the internet to, where the cat was out of the bag. And so we really thought that these musicians were mystery, men of mystery or women of mystery, whatever. Do you prefer the mystery of rock and roll before the internet, or do you like the accessibility of what the internet has done for the industry? Or to the industry?
I think it's a mixed bag, and here's where I think it is. I think that people who are online and artists that are online and are genuine people really get to shine. Mm-hmm. A fan gets to see the inner part of their life, how much they want to share, and not to use as an example, but I will. Like, if you see a social post from Lady Gaga and she's sitting at the piano in her house in Los Angeles and she's playing piano and singing, she's the real fucking deal. Right. Like, she knows how to sing, she knows how to play. There's no shit behind the curtain with her. But on the other hand, the mystery was wonderful in the way that there were gatekeepers.
Right.
There were people who made David Bowie who David Bowie was and let us see into his world as far as we could see because he was cool as shit. Now it's just everybody's game, mm-hmm. And that kind of sucks. And I'm not saying that to be an elitist because, if that would have been strong gatekeepers, maybe I wouldn't have gotten through. But there is something to be said about it. That there is certain things to that privacy and tastemakers and people choosing, to release the stuff they know is going to do great things in this world.
Absolutely. And, as far as your thought process goes, what do you think it's going to take for rock and roll to be back in the forefront of pop culture? What is your thoughts?
One kid in a really bad recession. I think, rock and roll is born out of struggle and pain. And I don't think, I think, this generation, a lot of kids that have it real good, man. There's not a lot. I'm not saying that there aren't kids who are struggling in this world. That would be foolish to say that. And there's many of those. But the one that struggles and the one that wants to say something that makes a difference is the one I want to listen to. I think that's where rock and roll was born. I always have this joke with my manager. We watch the Grammys every year, and he was my first A&R guy. He's been with me throughout my whole career.
Nice.
And he will be like, oh, fuck, like this is awful, whatever it is, and we'll kind of poo-poo it. And I always at the end of the night say the same thing. I said, maybe somewhere in the world right now some kid is watching this and he's going, this is fucking bullshit. And he's going to go down into the basement and he's going to create something honest and amazing. That's where rock and roll was born, I think. And put it, like I said, put a recession on top of that, some struggle.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, so, Jeff, do you have anything else that you would like to ask before we let Emerson go?
We kind of briefly talked about the next Tonic release, but I listened to 32,000 Days today that came out in 2019. I was new to your solo effort, so I was pleasantly surprised and really liked that album. What's next for your solo? You're working on anything?
Thanks, man. I have a 5-song thing in the can right now that cool. I'm struggling with whether I want to remix it. Everybody's saying, please just leave it alone. And that's probably what I will do. So that's just another solo thing. It's called Past Conversations in Future Rooms. It's a very odd little record, very produced, nothing stripped down about it other than the lyrics. So that'll probably come out in the next 6 months.
Cool.
5-6 months.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, exciting. Awesome.
Well, we're out of our allotted time. Is there anything that we did not cover that you would like to plug or promote?
I don't think so, man. I think we covered the gamut. We talked about Ezra Ray Hart. We talked about solo stuff. We talked about rock and roll. Talked about Tonic.
Yeah.
Shit, we just talked. I mean, that's what we did, man. I mean, right?
Absolutely. So this is how it's going to work. We have about 3 weeks worth of interviews that we have to release before yours, so right around 3 to 4 weeks. But as soon as Jeff, the editing wizard over here, gets it all ready to go, we'll send it to your PR people, and I can send it to you as well. And then please share it on your socials as much as you possibly can. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
It was a true pleasure to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for moving stuff around.
Hey, absolutely, man. All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Have a good night.
All right, bro.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Night.
as their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out